What's happening, friends? Welcome back for another episode of the Chamber Podcast. I am Rob Johnson. Joining me in the studio today is Sydney Plaskey from Sonny's on the Corner.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Absolutely. This is going to be a lot of fun. You and I met last week. We were talking about, the business coming open July 1. Is that the target?
Yep.
And you were giving me all the highlights of what the store was going to entail. And I was like, we need to put this on the podcast.
Yeah.
Because I want people, especially the people associated with the Chamber, to know more about what you're doing and also how you're doing it and kind of the value that I think your shop is going to bring to the downtown district in Brighton.
Sure.
So I guess for the listeners, just a brief 30 to 60 second backstory on who Sydney is and what you do.
Yeah. So my background is in marketing. I've worked at a marketing company the last 7 years, and I've always wanted to own my own business. So it was just for me determining, what is the right time and what's the right business to try to do. And when I saw that this space became available downtown Brighton, I immediately fell in love with this space. I'm in Brighton very often. My husband works downtown Brighton. My parents live in Brighton. We live in South Lyon, which is super close by. So when I saw this space, I knew I would love to open a store there, and everything fell into place really, really quickly and really easily. So I'm looking to open a fashion store. We're going to have women's apparel mostly, and then also some men's Detroit and Michigan sports gear, and then a little section of baby apparel as well.
Yeah. And that's really cool. And one thing you were telling me about was kind of the inventory process, the philosophy behind the store to keep it fresh. Because I know a lot of times you want to continually build a clientele that is coming back for different things. And sometimes retailers don't have that high of a turnover when it comes to their inventory. So what are you doing a little bit differently on that aspect to get people in?
So kind of speaking of podcasting, I've been listening to so many podcasts for people who are starting boutiques, people who have run boutiques for a long time, and there are so many resources out there. So as I've been sitting in the store and painting or unpackaging or whatever, I'm listening to those podcasts, and over and over and over, I'm hearing what kills boutiques is just having the same inventory for a long time. So one of my main goals for Sonny's is going to be to have all new inventory all the time. So there will rarely be a time that I'm reordering the same product. It's going to be a lot of new. So hopefully some high turnover, something that where if you come in 2 weeks later than your last visit, you should see a significant amount of the store has turned over to something new.
Yeah. And one other unexpected benefit that's nice when you have a high inventory system like that is it puts in the shopper's mind, if I don't get it now, it's not coming back. And that's a really good mindset to have customers in the throes of.
For sure. And I think that's what boutiques are all about, and shopping local and having those kind of niche areas. I know with Amazon and Target and Walmart these days, there's just so many options that we have for basics and for things that we can get that are inexpensive and, kind of get the same products over and over. Whereas I want to make sure that if people are coming into my store and shopping local and they want something that's going to be really unique that they're not going to find in those type of stores or online. So because of that, I think that will keep people, hopefully coming back and, expecting something new every time.
Yeah, it's a smart strategy. So 2 things on the name, Sonny's on the Corner. Tell me about the origin of the name.
Yeah, so Sonny has always been a nickname of mine since as long as I can remember. I think it started because 1 or 2 of my siblings couldn't say Sydney correctly, and I think a lot of people don't even notice when my family or friends call me Sonny because it just rolls off the tongue and it sounds like Sydney. But it really, another reason it originated and kind of stuck is my mom would always say, she's got such a sunny personality, kind of sarcastically, because I was just, sitting in the corner, more of a quiet kid than all the rest of my siblings and cousins. And so it kind of just stuck as a funny nickname and then followed me all the way through high school. And even some of my college friends have called me Sonny. So when I said I was opening the store, multiple people were like, you have to call it Sonny's. And so, I tried some other names and nothing really just felt as solid as Sonny's.
Yeah. I love, the name is awesome. The branding is super cool. It's noticeable. It stands out as you're rolling through downtown. And I'm sure it's like the store's not even done yet.
Yeah.
So it's going to be even more so, but even the business card you'd given me last week, it in a sea of business cards,
Yeah.
the bright yellow, the orange, it's really cool what you've done on the branding with that too, which I think is going to catch a lot of attention.
Thank you. Yeah, that's definitely the point. Lots of bright colors, yellows and oranges, and my business card and logo have the big orange couch. So we're going to have a big orange velvet couch in the middle of the store, which has been really fun for me to kind of design the whole retro feel of the store, just because it's not something that you'd really want to put in your house or something like that. It's kind of crazy and out there, but I've got all these walls of photos and retro pictures and LED signs and that kind of stuff that makes it have a really bright retro feel that I think will be really cool for people of all ages.
That's awesome. So the location. So give the listeners a rundown on precisely where you're at in downtown on Main Street.
So that is one of the things that excited me most about this space, because it really was the space that inspired the whole idea for the store. We are right next door to Brighton Bar and Grill. There's the alleyway between us. And so we're really right there on Main Street in the middle of downtown, and we've got those huge display windows. And then, our entrance is right off Main Street and kind of right in the middle of all the action. So we're excited, especially for the festivals and all that this summer, to kind of be right there in the center of it all.
That's awesome. And one really cool aspect about all of this is that you're entering into the business market at a really unique time where obviously a lot of retail shops were closed down. A lot of them pivoted to online. Yeah. And in my estimation, and this is just my opinion, I think we're going to have a resurgence, especially in niche markets, because of the separation, the distance, and quite frankly, just the coldness that we've experienced with the online shop, the online retail experience. So people are going to want to do more of these things, particularly in a local community like ours here in Brighton.
Yeah, I think we're excited to have an online presence as well, to kind of make sure that, if there was anything crazy to happen again, that we're covered in that way. So eventually we will have a full e-commerce site where you can purchase most of our products online, which we're really excited about, but also we'll be using social media in a way that feels very personalized. So we'll be doing What's New Wednesdays every Wednesday, where I'm either live or on a pre-recorded video showing what's new in the store and trying to make it as personalized as possible, so that if there are people that can't make it to the store personally, at least they're still getting that personal experience and they're seeing myself and my employees. And we also, for our store phone, we got an iPhone, so customers are able to text us if they want to. So we're really just trying to make it as easy as possible to get a hold of us and ask any questions that people have.
That's awesome. Now, Sydney, one of the recurring features on this show is I typically ask people the same 3 questions, and being that you're kind of just getting off the ground here in Brighton, I think you're probably the newest business we've had on this show, so I'm anxious to see how your answers are. So no pressure.
Okay.
All right.
I'm ready.
They're all softballs, I promise. So,
okay.
So really when you kind of wind the clock back and you go to the process of opening a business, you and I talked briefly last week about just all of the extra advice that you get from people that, all have great intentions.
Yeah.
But it can be overwhelming to hear and separate the good advice from the advice that you probably shouldn't take.
Yep.
So if you were to go back and kind of consult yourself on the process of starting a business, what type of advice would you lean into, knowing what you know now?
Yeah. So when I was thinking of starting this business, I wanted to make sure it was something that I would keep the passion alive on, and I wanted to make sure that it was something that I would be continually rejuvenated to work on. So there's a quote that says, let me get this right. It says, it's not work unless you'd rather be doing something else. And that's kind of what I took to heart when I started this business. I'm like, when I'm in there every day, am I going to want to be somewhere else, And I haven't felt like that since I've started, which is great. So every day as I'm in there, I'm feeling like I don't want to be at home. I don't want to be somewhere else. I want to be there and working on it. And it's so exciting to me. Yeah. So that's something that's really stuck with me, that I thought was good advice, to do something that, makes it feel like you don't want to be anywhere else. So that's something that has really helped me, and also something that I feel like I want to keep in mind as I move forward and make sure that I'm still feeling fresh in the business and always learning.
Absolutely. Second question is what is a particular hobby that you have right now other than painting stores and stocking inventory right now? So hobby outside of those things that you do to kind of unwind.
Oh yeah. Okay. Actually, I have a good one for this because in my marriage counseling 2 years ago, our pastor asked my husband and I, what hobbies do you have together and what hobbies do you have individually? And to me, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm like, I don't know that I have one specific outlet. And I really pushed myself at that time about 2 years ago to get into something. And that thing that I chose was carpentry. So I started building things. I started with small boxes and then kind of those blanket ladders that you see in a lot of homes now. And then stepped up my game a little bit, bought some pretty intense power tools. And my whole Christmas list last year was all different, miter saw and that kind of things, which is unique. List. But yeah, exactly. Jimmy had a lot of it to start with. Yeah. But I worked my way up. Made a couple coffee tables, a dining table. So I've been able to give some of those things as gifts, and it's just been really fun to get into carpentry. So I'm really looking forward to building some things for the store, whether it's just shelving to display things on, or potentially even one day taking some of the things that I build and selling them at the store. So that's kind of a pipe dream of mine for down the line, but I haven't been able to do a lot of carpentry lately in the last couple months just with starting the store, but I'm looking forward to getting back into it soon.
That's a super cool hobby.
Thank you.
And that's a big undertaking too.
Yeah.
I have to cut trim at like a 45-degree angle, and I break out in a cold sweat.
Oh my God.
I do marketing. I don't do carpentry.
I'm a very numbers focused person, so there's something really reassuring to me about it. Just knowing that if I do all of this right, it's all going to come together perfectly, and
that's all the precision.
And half the time it doesn't happen, but it's nice to try.
That's the learning part.
For sure.
All right, question 3. What is your favorite piece of technology?
Wow.
It can be ever as well. I think I always say currently, and I think that kind of traps people into always saying the iPhone, but it really can be ever. So if
that's a tough one. I'm sorry, this is not a very original answer, but I would probably have to say like a phone with internet that you don't have to be at the house is helpful for me, just because I'm working on the go so often, especially now with the store. Just being able to be, whether it's a laptop or a computer, being able to be on the go and not just in my workplace working has been huge. And I worked from home the last 2 years at the marketing company that I worked for. So being able to take that outside, I guess that ability in itself is really what I appreciate the most about our modern technology.
No, absolutely. And also, as you go into the retail space, you have a POS system. And you can do a lot of it on your phone, if not all of it.
Yeah, and I got all the data plans so that if I want to go to a farmer's market or something like that and set up a booth, I'm good to go and do all my selling through a small iPhone and a small card reader, and something like that would have been completely unheard of 10, 15 year ago. So,
absolutely.
So that'll be a really exciting part of what I do.
Absolutely. See, you made it through.
Yeah.
You got through all 3.
Not too bad.
No problems. So July 1st is the target for open. And do you have a ribbon cutting planned?
I believe we'll be doing a ribbon cutting that day. Yes. So that is the grand opening event. It's going to be from 4 o'clock to 8 o'clock at the store that day. We're going to have a DJ and some giveaways and prizes. And of course, we will be open for business. So selling everything that I've been working so hard to put up in the last few weeks.
Awesome. That's super cool.
Yeah.
And the website is coming soon as well. We'll make sure we drop the link in there in the show notes. And all of the information, the address, the phone number, all that jazz can be found in the show notes of this podcast.
Yes.
So excellent. Well, thank you for your time.
No problem. Thank you so much for having me. This is really fun.
Absolutely. I appreciate it. I'm excited to see the business open, and I know it's going to go super well for you.
Thank you very much.
Absolutely. All right, friends. Well, that's going to wrap us up on this week's edition of the Chamber Podcast. I appreciate you all listening. Be sure to check out Sydney's business coming to the downtown district in July. We'll catch you on the next week's episode. Take care.